was the citizens powerhouse behind the historic Love Canal fight up in Niagara Falls, New York. So, she was 27 years old, which was how old I was when I started my job here with Stop Titan. And it's very, very cool and awesome and inspiring to have her here with us tonight. So she did the Love Canal fight, successfully got the attention of Jimmy Carter, had him come up to Love Canal, and they moved over 800 families away from a toxic waste dump that was that a school was on top of, and families were living there and children were getting sick. So she's kind of a big deal. And since then, she started the Center for Health, Environment, and Justice, which is a 30-year-old organization, and they do incredible work. And I highly recommend going home and going to chej.org and just looking at all the fabulous things that they have done and are continuing to do. I mean, she was just in a Washington Post article that I was reading the other day. So without further ado, I introduce Lois Gibbs.
Thank you, Sarah, and thank you all for coming out tonight. This is just an extraordinary group. I'm really proud to be here. I'm very excited about what you all have done, because we know Sarah and some of these folks who have been working on this couldn't do it alone. But the fact that you've turned out all these people and you've kept Titan at bay is just pretty good, you know? I mean, this is a big company. They got lots of money, and you don't. And so winning really has to do with whether you all stay involved. Because Sarah and the small group at Stan can't do it by themselves. And so the real message I want to leave tonight is that everybody in this room needs to decide on what one thing they want to do to keep this thing moving and keep it moving in a direction that will protect this community, that will protect your air, which will protect your property values, which will protect your businesses, and all the other things that this community represents. At Love Canal, for those who don't know, there were 20,000 tons of chemicals buried in the center of our community. It leaked out into the homes that surrounded the dump. The dump was rectangular, our homes were built around it. And for many years, every single government agency you can imagine, the city, the county, the town of Wheatfield, the state, the federal government, all knew we were being poisoned. They all knew it. And they made a conscious and deliberate decision that it was perfectly okay. When we pushed them to do a health study, and they came back, they said, meaning the state of New York, we found 56% of the children at Love Canal were born with birth defects. And we're like, well, duh, what do you think, we just made that up? Like we got nothing better to do? We're making these horror stories about our own neighborhood? And then they said, but we don't believe it's related to Love Canal. What we believe that it's related to is this is a random clustering of genetically defective people. They didn't deny the evidence, is my point here. If your strategies are based on looking at the science and proving that there will be a problem, and that's the only strategy you have, you are not likely to win. Because every time you can show that there is a problem, they will come up with some mathematical model which is full of assumptions. They're assuming how much will come out the stack of things like mercury and benzene. They will assume how much the children will breathe. They will assume the wind pattern. They will assume the inhalation numbers. And they will come out with a number that says it's probably better than anything else you would put on your Cheerios in the morning. It's so safe. So here's a second strategy that most organizations focus on, and that's the legal strategy. It must be illegal to poison people. We live in America. It must be illegal. No, it is not illegal to poison you. In fact, their licenses and their air permits and all of the other things that they get to operate actually designates how many people they can poison with how much for how long. When Titan Cement gets their permit, they will release chemicals into the air. And the chemicals they release in the air, based on some mathematical model, will say how many people they're likely to harm. I'm sorry. I believe that every life is valuable. I don't believe we harm life for profit. So a legal strategy is a strategy you should pursue, but you must understand that it is not illegal in America to kill people. It's just illegal to kill them quicker than your permit allows, which generally happens because they have accidents and problems, and so they sort of violate their permit in most of these places. It's going to harm the health of the people who live here. It is going to harm your economy because guess what? High tech and other industries aren't coming here if there's a polluting industry here. The statistics and the data is out there. You can see it. The only thing that this cement facility is going to attract is other dirty facilities. That would be your destiny. So one of the things we advise people to do is dog their candidates. Dog them, hold candidate forums, things like that. Can anybody explain the horror that's going to happen, the pollution?
It's a clean aquifer and it will poison the water as well as the
Because
river.
it'll poison water, thank you. Why else is it dangerous?
Mercury in the air.
I'm sorry?
Mercury bioaccumulates in fish, and there's a lot of people in the Cape Fear River that eat fish.
I have asthma, so it's going to make my asthma worse.
160 toxins and pollutants released into our air.
There are schools, I think 3 schools within miles of the proposed plant with thousands of children. And
Wow.
Say that, that part of the Cape Fear River is a very pristine, beautiful, natural habitat, very peaceful and quiet, and a joy to be on the river. And that is going to be one ugly, stark, industrial, hellacious-looking plant on the river.
They're supposed to pump how many million gallons a day? I think 15 million or something of gallons of water a day from the aquifer, which is likely to dry up the wells and things in the area that everybody lives off of in that community.
There's a lot of problems with this facility. I mean, you just in this room, you're talking about it. But how do we get the people who are not in this room to understand this? And how do we get the people who are not in this room to move forward? It's another piece of your sort of strategy. So it's not always about, with all due respect to folks who like the wetlands, some people don't give a hoot. The truth of the matter is they don't give a hoot. And people do give a hoot about the school population. Or if they don't have children, they don't give a hoot about your school population, but they care about the asthmatics. So you have a lot of things in the community that people care about, and you need to figure out how to bring those things together in your sort of battle cry, if you will.
Right, but on the news, the local news, they ran kind of a segment on a tight cement plant in Virginia. And they basically went out to the community and asked them about the plant and its effect on the community. And it was a very positive report about, we don't even know Titans here. They just do their thing in the background. It was very unscientific. But it potentially painted a picture for those people that did watch that short second of the news that really know nothing about Titan Cement or a lot of these issues that everybody brought up here. Painted a picture that it'll be fine.
My suggestion, and this has been done, is you take the articles in that you think are slanted. Newspapers are supposed to be objective, so they're not going to do your side either, only your side, right? So you take the newspaper articles in, you ask for a meeting with the editorial staff, and you sit down and say, respectfully, that we feel that this was slanted. We don't feel that it told the whole story. And we want you to correct this. The only media you're getting is the media is generating, and the media that the company is generating. Your media isn't working. When you got your health study, which is a phenomenal document, oh my God, it really shows there's going to be serious problems in this community. It didn't generate any media. They will tune you out when you start talking about negative things because people don't want to hear negative things. People are not trained to hear negative things. TV teaches us that if we drink this stuff, we'll be beautiful. If we eat this stuff, we'll be healthy. If we use this product, our hair will shine. Everything is a positive that people are reinforced in their daily activities. It's not to damn TV. I watch it too. It's more about what is the media which is training us how to think and what to tune into and what to tune out of.
And the only thing they had to say was it would bring jobs. I mean, nothing else was ever mentioned. And that's the only thing that you hear from Titan on a positive aspect. It will bring jobs, construction jobs, and then 150 or 160 well-paying jobs. So that's the message that they're putting out.
But you really need to talk about this jobs issue and not the way you guys are talking about it. Because every time you use their language, you repeat their language, you're reinforcing their language. Every time somebody says $72,000, they don't remember who said it and where it came from. They just remember $72,000 for a job. They don't remember the part that you said about they dropped out of high school and they're not likely to get that job. So if they say it's going to present 160 jobs, paying so much money, you can talk to the lady back in the corner and talk about how many new jobs are going to come from the new technology industries that you don't mention they're 160. You just talk with her and get the number she has about the other new industries that are going to come here, especially if this area is clean and livable and people want to come here and work and what those pay rates are. So you have to be very careful not to, I see people all the time, EPA said, it's like, no! Why do you lead your sentence with EPA said? Are you EPA? Stop it. You know, say what you want to say and don't repeat that. Just be very, very careful about that.
I'm afraid to lose a part of our support. We have such a wide base with so many different issues that there's certain tactics we may be hesitant to pursue that would probably put off a lot of people. So I just was wondering what you had to say about that in the fact that we have all this massive support, but we haven't taken it to the next level yet.
One thing politicians and everybody else can't stand is young people asking for something they're not going to give. They really can't.
I'm not aware that there are gates along the way. For example, local obstacles that could have an impact on this decision. I think it's extremely important to spread the word about where are those checkpoints, those leverage points where things could be stopped. And I know that I'm much more comfortable becoming active at the local level with local officials. And if there's a checkpoint, a local checkpoint, I'm much more likely to get involved in that.
The only local thing we have is this special use permit that was just passed in the fall. That's the only thing locally, which before we didn't have anything locally. They just kept saying, we can't help you, go see the governor.
240 healthcare professionals from this community said no. That's huge.
Thank you so much for coming. I mean, this is a really, really awesome start to 2012. And with all of you and all of your friends behind you, Titan is not going to come here.
Yeah.
They're not.